Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the absolute future of AI. It's called synthetic data. Look, we are facing this massive dilemma right now. How do we actually build smarter algorithms without just handing over all of our personal secrets? Let's get right into it.
It is literally the core conflict of modern tech. How on earth do you train AI without using real people's data? I mean, every single time we use our phones or laptops, we're leaving behind this massive trail of digital footprints. And for a long time, that very real, highly personal info was the fuel for artificial intelligence. We all want the incredible benefits of machine learning, right? But that insatiable hunger for data is clashing directly with our fundamental right to privacy. For years, everybody just assumed you had to feed algorithms millions of real-world interactions and real consumer behaviors. But what if that assumption is completely wrong? What if the future of AI doesn't rely on scraping our personal lives at all? Well, the crucial solution here is synthetic data. By definition, this is data that is artificially generated by algorithms, not produced by real-world events. Now, I really want you to focus on that distinction for a second. We aren't talking about anonymizing real data or, just stripping names off a spreadsheet. No, we're talking about information built entirely from the ground up by math and code. It looks exactly like the real thing to a computer, it behaves just like the real thing, but it was never generated by an actual person doing an actual thing in the real world. It's just a completely artificial data set created specifically to teach machines. To really get this, think about the contrast between real-world events and computer simulations. Real-world data, it's inherently messy, it's restricted, it is just riddled with privacy concerns, and obviously it's heavily regulated. But computer simulations, which are really the essence of synthetic data, rely on pure mathematical precision. They use algorithmic generation to approximate reality with incredible accuracy. So the output of these systems perfectly mirrors the real thing for training purposes, but it completely leaves behind all that messiness and all those legal hazards of using real-world events.
And you know what's really fascinating? This actually isn't a brand new concept at all. We've been using forms of synthetic data for decades. Just think about music synthesizers. They aren't playing back real audio recordings. They use physical modeling and algorithms to artificially approximate what a piano sounds like. Or think about flight simulators. They approximate the physics of flying so pilots can safely train for hundreds of hours, without ever putting a real plane in a real sky. Modern machine learning is literally just taking that exact same principle of simulation and applying it to complex data sets to teach AI. So we're really just grounding this hyper-futuristic concept in very familiar established territory.
Okay, so why the urgency? Why do we desperately need that for AI right now? Well, it's because we're hitting a massive privacy roadblock. Look at fields like healthcare, finance, or even urban planning. Highly sensitive data sets absolutely exist in theory. Like, we technically have the data that could help an AI cure a disease or stop complex financial fraud, but it acts like a locked vault. It cannot and absolutely should not be released to the general public or freely fed into an AI model. Doing that would completely compromise the confidentiality of every individual in that data set. So we're sitting on this absolute goldmine of potential learning, but it's trapped. It's trapped behind a massive and completely necessary wall of privacy protection. And that brings us to the ultimate resolution here. Synthetic data totally sidesteps the privacy issues that arise from using real consumer information without permission or compensation. This is exactly why this matters so much. Synthetic data acts as this brilliant, elegant filter. Because the data is artificially generated by an algorithm and not produced by real-world events, there are zero real consumers involved. There's literally no one whose permission you need to ask and no one who requires compensation for their personal information. It is a complete bypass around the whole ethical and legal minefield of modern data collection. So, what are the massive implications for our future? Well, the power of synthetic data basically boils down to a few key areas. First up, it allows us to relentlessly validate really complex mathematical models. Second, it efficiently trains the entire next generation of machine learning models. Third, and honestly, perhaps most importantly for you and me, it fiercely protects data confidentiality. It acts as a safety filter for info that would otherwise expose the most sensitive parts of our lives. And lastly, it totally sidesteps all those thorny, complicated issues of permission and compensation. We can keep pushing the absolute boundaries of what AI can do, but we can do it entirely safely. I want to leave you with this final, really provocative thought. What does the future actually look like when algorithms no longer even need our personal data to learn? Just imagine a world where medical AI, financial AI, smart city infrastructure, where they all advance at absolute lightning speed, getting smarter every single day, but your personal digital footprint remains completely locked down and private. Synthetic data isn't just some clever workaround. No, it represents a fundamental shift in how we are going to build the future.
It's promising a reality where technology thrives and our personal secrets finally, actually remain ours.